What's up guys, Jared here, Predator Motorsports, back with another video walkthrough vlog. We just finished up this truck behind us. This is John, Mr. John Fosdick. Beautiful 96 H1 that we just finished. Now we're gonna walk you through the whole build and what we did and what John had planned for this truck. John, you're really into these cars. Why don't you, give us a little backstory on the truck?
Oh, sure. Well, this was my first H1 that I'd ever got my hands on. I'm used to old Ford pickup trucks, old Dodge pickup trucks, old Chevy Blazers, Suburbans, Scouts, anything old I like. A client of mine had called me up on this thing, and he called me up out of the blue and said, John, you want to buy the H1? I was like, what happened? He goes, I just need to sell it. I was like, all right, well, come on by. So he came by my office, drove up, and I saw this thing. I was like, good Lord, that thing is a beast. So we went and drove it, and I was really surprised at how well it drove, even the condition it was in. Before you guys got it, that old 6.5 turbo diesel and the 480 LE transmission, it just didn't have a lot of guts. It didn't have great brakes on it. It had those horrible super swamper tires, which they rode really bad, and the interior was not fantastic. So I decided to buy it, and it had a lot of rust. So up at the top, it had this wonderful bed liner cover up here, which covered up all the crunchy rust in the back, because this truck originally came from Hawaii. And so when I got it, I took it out to my buddy's place, Mike Schoenfeld. That's the guy that helps me with a lot of my builds, and we've worked well together. And we started tearing into it to fix all of the rust. So we reskinned part of the top. So we got all that fixed. We decided to go ahead and gut the interior, cleaned it all up, did a whole bunch of lizard skin ceramic coating and sound deadening, and then Dynamat all on the inside, because you guys got it like that.
Yes.
And Dynalined, and then we tore out the engine. And then we got to a point, it's like, man, this is above our pay grade. It's just, it's a different animal. And I'd already come out here a couple of years before and visit with you guys when I was in town. I knew about you guys. I met y'all out here, and I started doing a little bit of research on y'all, and decided that, y'all would be the right surgeons to take care of the open heart transplant that we did on this thing. So fast forward about 2 years, we had to transport it out here. You and I started working together on the build. One thing leads to another. You get into these things, and it's like, well, I really like this. And this was my first build I'd ever done remotely. So this was truly weird for me, because I'm used to being able to drive out to my buddy's shop, go to the machine shop, go to the transmission shop, pick up stuff, take stuff, help put it back in, be there in the paint shop blocking and sanding. So this was a way different experience for me. It was a great experience. So we started working on the Duramax transplant with the Allison 6-speed, upgrading the axles, upgrading the brakes. Then you and I got together on some aesthetics after we painted, the whole frame. Then we did the undercoating underneath, undercoating in the engine compartment. I mean, we were just talking about undercoating underneath the hood. So the devil's always in the details. You always want to just look at some of those little bitty things that will make a good build or a decent build turn into, I think, a great build. And it's just all those little things that we decided on. I mean, when we started looking at the interior, you guys had some wonderful leather, but I was just hooked on this leather. So we shipped it out here. And my buddy Renee at the upholstery shop came up with this elongated diamond. And then Roy ran some samples, and he just freaking nailed it. So we decided on that. We decided to keep the regular stock dash and not go with the Alpha dash, because this one has, kind of its own character. And then, I'm a real big fan of accent stitching, but you convinced me not to do that it would look too busy. And you were exactly right, because it would have just made the whole interior just real busy. So we decided not to do that. Roy came up with the idea, with the suede in here, the black leather, a nice accent stitch here, just to give the door some character. But I at first was thinking I wanted some of this leather in the door, but then it kind of would have detracted from the main focal piece of how these seats look. And I think it just pops.
Yeah, it looks really great. And that leather you've used before in your Super Duty, I think you said?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was in the Super Duty build, and then also redoing one of the Jaguars, an XKR. Then we started, putting pieces together, a lot of the search and rescue, center console stuff. And then I think we were just sitting there in the main office area, and I was like, man, can we just wrap that tube with some leather? And then Ryan was like, yeah, that's a great idea, but on roll bars, it'll start to turn and twist. And he said, why don't we make it a legit armrest? And I said, yeah, that's what I'd love. So then Ryan took it to the next level, figured out how to do the armrest in those really awesome brackets that he found, so we could get kind of a legit armrest in there, and I think it turned out great.
Yeah, dude. It's the attention to the detail like that really sets off the whole build as a whole piece.
Yeah, no, it always does. Then we figured out what we wanted to do on these seat belts and had those redone.
Yeah.
So that was a great collaborative idea,
Yeah.
To figure that out. And then, oh my gosh, the wheels and tires.
That was a process.
That was a big process. I probably looked at 50 different wheels and tire combinations, and we went back and forth, and you emailed me stuff, and finally we decided on this because I really wanted to go with your center caps for the CTIS system, so we had to make sure we got the right wheel that would accommodate that properly.
Right.
And then with the exhaust system, and then Ryan, saying, hey, we'll powder coat the rest of this, black this out. That turned out great. Y'all's lights on the side, I think that turned out really, really cool, especially since these lights, you can flip the switch on that S-Pod system to get some, throw light out here if you're loading stuff up or detailing your really nice H1 late at night. It really started coming together.
Yeah, you did the lights up top. These are all backlit.
Yeah, you showed me that yesterday. That's pretty trick because you can hit the switch on the S-Pod and then cycle through the different backlit colors that you want, and it just gives it just a whole nother attitude.
It does.
My biggest concern, this truck is a Texas truck, and it gets hot in Texas. So I wasn't worried about the seat warmers. I was more worried about keeping things cool. I remember Ryan said, hey, if you put our roof rack up here with those slats, that will act as a bit of a thermal barrier from the sun. And I'd already done tons of insulation up in the roof. We even did some reinforcement up there to make the roof even more sturdy. But we did the lizard skin, the Dynamat, the Dyneliner, everything I could throw at this thing to insulate it, but it still gets triple digits in Texas.
Right.
I mean, you go to Laredo, it's 115 degrees, so it's smoking hot. And I'll be in Phoenix later this week, but it won't be hot right now. So I really think the way that roof rack works and how you guys were able to incorporate all the wiring into everything, and with the ladder, and then how we were able to get that rear camera, and tell everybody about that rear camera.
So we have a new product. It's basically a rear view mirror camera. It mounts to where the rear view mirror is, and you get a full 180 degree view of your back. In the wagons, it's really hard to see out of because, especially with a tire carrier and everything, this is a screen. You can't miss anything.
I mean, to that point, this really takes out the blind spots. So one thing with the H1s, they just don't have great visibility.
Yeah, especially in this area.
In this whole area. And what I was noticing on traffic, like on the 405, just as cars were coming up beside me, I could still see them in the mirror. And they would get right up here and I could still see them. And as soon as they would come out of the rear view mirror frame, I could see them right next to me. And I could see them in the great mirrors that you guys put on this thing with the little cheater mirror down on the bottom. So you don't have an issue with people sneaking up on your blind spot when you go to change lanes and you pull over them, crush them. Another thing that when we were building it, not only did we upgrade the axles and the brakes and all that good stuff, Ryan was talking about doing the extra shocks. And doing yaw shocks and then doing the Fox shocks. I remember my 90 Blazer has a quad shock system from the factory up front, and I understand how that worked. And when Ryan was saying the benefits of it, I was like, you know what, GM did it from the factory, so why don't we try it here? I tell you what, this thing is planted. Folks will say that like a sports car, like it drives on rails. This thing feels like it is a locomotive, like a freight train. It is so well planted going down the highway. It's going straight. It doesn't get upset, and with those extra shocks, it just has a really awesome planted feel. And then, we did the alignment to it.
And we have all new suspension, ball joints,
Yes,
pivot
sir.
arms, idler arms, all that makes a huge difference.
It's surprising how tight the suspension feels. I mean, before it was like this, and then I'd get a little engagement and I would turn. Now it's like right there, and it doesn't track left or right, it tracks straight. And it's just right there, and I move a little bit and I get a little bit of input. It's legit. That suspension upgrade and replacing everything just translate to a much, much better driving vehicle. So totally sold on that. That definitely paid off huge.
I completely agree. When you're doing a full build like this, it doesn't make sense to leave 25-year-old ball joints on the truck when you're replacing everything else.
No.
You gotta upgrade everything.
Yeah, and once again, it just makes sense. I mean, we were just talking about replacing a seal on that Allison transmission. It's a $20 seal. Why not spend that kind of money when you're into it already to make sure it's solid, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, when I leave here, I'm gonna probably drive about 2,000 miles. So we put some shakedown miles on it. We took care of just little bitty things. And I'm going to head up to, San Bernardino, head up to Oak Hills, and I'm headed over to Phoenix and Wickenburg, Colorado, El Paso, and then finally back to San Antonio. So I'll be doing probably 2,000 miles on this rig.
Yeah.
After we're done shooting this video, when I leave here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the confidence and everything that you guys have done, and all the work that all of y'all have done on it is fantastic. So it's been a ton of fun.
It has been.
I mean, it's been a process.
Yes, it has.
I mean, it's been what, a year and 10 months total?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. But one thing is, I was in Texas, you're here, the back and forth to make sure we're doing it right. Talking with you, talking with Ryan. I mean, the whole crew here did a fantastic job, and I am picky. I'm a kind of a detail guy.
Yes, you are. That's a good thing, though.
It is.
The truck came out the way it did because you pay attention to the small details, but it makes a huge difference.
I think it turned out. I think it turned out really well.
I do.
I mean, it's something I'll be proud to drive for decades, and just everything really works well.
It does.
Driving it feels good. You feel safe in it. Ryan and I talked about the side protection, and you and I talked about it. How upgrading that. I wasn't a huge fan of adding that much more weight to the rig, but talking with Ryan yesterday, I think adding a little bit of weight to these really settles the suspension down.
It does.
Just the bit of driving I did the other day, I think I was averaging 16.6 miles to the gallon.
Yeah. It's not bad.
That ain't bad
For a 8,000-pound vehicle.
Probably 8,000 plus.
Yeah, probably
with everything
more,
on it.
with all the racks and everything.
Yeah, and I mean that side protection is probably what, 200 pounds?
200 pounds each.
Yeah. Everything we did with all the light choices, with the stereo choices. I mean,
even down to talking about details. Replacing all the bezels with our billet bezels.
The bezels turned out wonderful.
Around the HVAC vents.
Yep.
Replacing all the lighting, get rid of the halogen.
Oh.
Replacing it to LED.
Yeah, I mean, when
Really
I opened it
updates
up
the interior.
last night, I could actually see in here.
Yeah.
It was really nice. The lower lighting there for passengers to get in and out. I mean, it's way better.
Even down to the, replacing your bezels with the billet ones. Get rid of the cracked plastic ones. Now you don't have to worry about that in the future.
Yeah. And the door handles, the grab handles.
Handles.
Roy wrapped them in leather. That turned out really well. Should we show them the little trick thing that Caleb came up with in the back?
Sure.
The little access panel.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is really cool.
So John didn't want a winch in the back. He doesn't need it. So all of our bumpers have a hole here for the handle to control your winch, to engage or disengage. John wanted to come up with some kind of cover plate. Caleb came up with this idea. It's a cover plate, a couple magnets. You push it out of the way. You can gain access to a plug for like jumper cables or to power, another 12-volt source here in the back of the truck. If he's got a trailer he needs to get power to, or a truck or a car he needs to jump. Because you have quite a few other cars at your shop.
I do. Yeah. Yes, unfortunately.
You're into some pretty cool cars though. Unique ones.
I dig some of the old cars. Yeah. I've had my 96 Bronco forever, just dropped a 408 stroker in that, a little over 500 horses. That's kind of my daily driver. Got an old Jaguar 2000 Vanden Plow with 160,000 miles on it. It looks brand new. It's just a nice cruiser. Did a full restoration to a 72 K5 Blazer. Every nut, bolt. Did a 434 stroker based off of a 400 small block, and then we did a 700 R4 automatic transmission, and then we did the poly fuel injection on it. And it is a really neat truck. It's really nice. So cool. I just kind of dig, really cool off-road vehicles that are unique, and this one hit it out of the park.
It is.
It really did.
Nothing's more unique, for an off-road vehicle than the Hummer H1. In my opinion.
My buddy Tommy and I were off-roading. This was a long time ago out near Del Rio, and we were in our K5 Blazers, and they're all capable. But this guy rolled up in a Hummer, and we were trying to negotiate this rock wall about that big, and we were all having to do it at weird angles and really scrape and fight to get over it. This guy rolled up in an H1, and I was like, oh my gosh. He just went straight to it, bumped up over it, and crawled over it. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, wow, that's
I
cool.
freaked out. And like, what in the world is that?
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever saw an H1, live in person, in action, and what they could really do. And I mean, when you get underneath these things and you see the clearance and the portal axles and how everything is tucked up, I mean, that's why your passenger's like that far away from you, because there's a big old engine and transmission in the way. But that's why it works so well. And it has a very unique feel. But surprisingly, you can turn. pretty dang good too.
Yeah.
It's got a really good turning radius. It's just been a neat build. I've got clients, back in the office in San Antonio. They can't wait to see it. One of my clients, Oscar, called me the other day. He's like, "Okay, you driving it back?" It's like, "Not yet, OG. I'll be there. I'll be there." So he can't wait to see it.
Cool.
So yeah, a lot of my clients know this is coming. So this will be, I guess I'll call it the best H1. The best. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. But it's been great. I mean, the weather's wonderful. You guys have done a great job, here at Predator. Brian couldn't be here, but we're taking care of business. You're taking care of business. These guys are taking care of business and taking care of all the clients that have all these other cool rigs.
Yeah.
And you're customizing them for every single client, and that's rare to see something at this level, this bespoke for clients. So you guys do a really, really good job. So thank you very much.
Surprised thought he could sneak in without saying anything.
Yeah.
Well, you're back again.
You're back. We didn't know you were going to be here, brother.
I know, it's good to see you.
Good seeing you.
I actually landed this morning.
Get the frick out. Wow. Well, we were just shooting the
I got
video.
a little sleep.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. It's cold out in Florida.
Well, you were saying that when I talked to you.
Freezing cold.
I can't believe that. You said it was kind of dreary.
What do you think about your truck, dude? It's insane, huh?
It feels good.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just going over some of the highlights, when you were talking about doing the extra shocks and y'all shocks and the extra Fox shock. And then when we talked the other day, it just really keeps it planted on the road. It just has a good feel.
Yeah.
And it goes straight. I mean, we did the alignment. I think that paid off huge. It goes straight down the road.
Yeah.
And, I was saying before, the suspension, you turn the wheel, about a quarter turn, finally you'd get some input for a turn. Now it's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it is stupid tight. And it feels great going down the road.
Good.
I mean, especially in, traffic on the 405 and all that. I mean, you feel great just cruising. It feels really, really solid.
It can take a lot of work to get an H1 to that level. Just a lot of dialing it in and tweaking and massaging the steering system. Make sure you have good rims and tires on there. Make sure your alignment's dialed in. All the suspension components dialed. Shocks. Once you get there, it's a beautiful truck.
It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels really, really good.
Way better than before.
Oh yeah. Night and day difference.
Yeah.
Night and day difference. That 465 was just working really hard to get up to 70.
Yeah.
This thing gets to 70 and it's like, oh man.
You got another 30 miles an hour after that too, if you want. Or more.
Well, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were doing some product testing on the first Duramax. We put a ton of power on it, and I was pushing 120 miles an hour up this grade. I'm like, I need to my techs all back out because the EGTs were screaming. They were through the roof. We're like, oh, it's so much fun. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I still had more to go.
Well, we were just talking about the manifolds that you guys use on the engine. I mean, that helps out with the EGTs.
For sure.
I mean, the way those flow better than the stock ones and how it gives a little bit more room on that bend behind the engine.
And you're not breaking the law with them too. They're all carb legal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's fantastic. And, when we were talking about that Allison transmission, I mean, it's a nice transmission.
It's the best.
It feels good. It's doing everything good. Morning, Randy.
Morning.
What's up?
What's up, Randy? Welcome back.
Doctor.
Dr. Randy. Good morning, Dr. Randy.
Oh, thank you. You're all out on disability.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. Let's go home.
I mean, it was great talking to Randy yesterday about how you guys do the exterior paint.
Yeah.
I mean, the process and how, he shoots the doors first and then the body, but then he comes back in and sprays the doors. So it just, that whole texture matches.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Big time.
You could slap something together in your driveway if you wanted to, and we see them come in. They're rough.
Oh,
we gotta peel all that stuff off.
That's gotta be rough. I don't know how you would do that, especially with the aluminum body underneath it.
A lot of chemicals.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I
And
guess
a lot
so.
of sanding, because there's areas that you just can't get the chemicals in there to get it lifted off. That stuff's tough, and especially that composition there with the Kevlar in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've taken that through some heavy brush and heavy, what looked like scratches. I thought I ruined the paint.
Yeah.
And it's literally just the tar or the liquid from the branches getting sanded down the side, and you just wipe it off.
Just clean it off.
It's brand new again.
Oh my God.
Dude,
Turned out
truck is great.
I mean, I had a guy pull up to me at the stoplight and rolled down the windows and started, I love your truck.
I was checking out. Get that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy what the window tint does, though, right? Yeah, I didn't have window tint on mine. I just had clear glass all the way around. Completely different feel. It just looks way more aggressive.
Yeah, it does. It does. But it feels good. Everything's working nicely.
Yeah, no, I appreciate how hands-on you are with this build because you're getting exactly what you want.
We were talking about that. That's rare in this day and age.
Yeah, it's nice. Well, especially with your background in like the automotive industry and all throughout your whole car collection, most of the cars that you restore, you yourself, so you know what you're looking for, which is awesome for us.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes for good communication because, you know, I know kind of what you guys are up against. I know what I want, but I'm not going to set my expectation way up here because of me knowing how hard that may be to do. So it's like, well, yeah, let's do this. This makes sense. Let's do this while this is part. Yeah, let's shoot that undercoating underneath the hood.
Yeah.
I mean, God, that just finished it off so nicely. I mean, you open up that engine compartment, it's like, bam, it's just finished.
It's a lot quieter too.
Yeah.
Even getting the insulation on the bottom side of that hood makes a difference.
Yes, right. Yeah, but no, it's going down the road great. I just can't wait to put 1,800, 2,000 miles on it. Get it home, change the oil again, and get it.
Well, you won't be the first, but that's a truck.
Yeah,
Most people don't drive across the country.
yeah.
But you can now with the Duramax.
It feels good.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels good. It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little louder, like you were saying.
Little bit.
You know that turbo.
Turbo's a little bit louder. than
Makes a
stock.
little extra good noise.
You have a variant turbo in there, don't you?
Yeah, that's that fleece cheetah turbo that we did. I think it wakes it up a little bit more.
does.
Yeah.
It's like the exhaust system. It just flows better.
Yeah, it does. It sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, I started it up this morning when I was leaving, and then it sounds great.
I like the shutdown. When you shut it off,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're walking away, and your truck is still like spooling down.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my truck.
Exactly. Yeah. And we were talking about your armrests
Oh,
that you
yeah.
designed.
That thing took so long, but they look good.
They look great.
Yeah.
I mean, that turned out really, really good.
And if you don't like them, you can pop them off.
You can take them off.
Yeah.
I dig them. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No. It kind of fills it in a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's very functional. I like all of these pieces, all the stainless steel pieces. Even my buddy that works at the Ferrari dealership there in Newport Beach mentioned it.
Yeah.
So when I showed it to him, he was like, "Is that all stainless steel?" It's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did the black exhaust for you, which you called out for, but one thing that we didn't talk about was the hardware for the exhaust system, the couplers.
Right.
They come in polished stainless steel.
Right.
So we powder coated all this.
Oh,
for you.
did you really?
So if you look in here, you don't see the couplers.
Oh, I did not know that.
It blends right in.
Yeah.
So it's just real subtle little
Oh, that
things.
looks good.
And I know you because John's like me. You have that eye where you see something and you have like a little bit of OCD where you're like, oh, that's not right, and you keep on looking at it.
Yeah.
I know you'd be walking by and be like, oh, that's not right. I can see that. So, yeah, I was
You're
like,
probably right.
We got to do that on
Probably
John's.
right. That turned out really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you want to do a walk around? You want to show everybody what we did on the structure?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, hit the front. We'll close it up.
Got the Warren 12K winch in there.
Yeah.
We did the rigid lights down below.
Yep.
I like this more attention to detail of the Factor 55 hook. Matte blue, so it matches the truck, you know.
Yeah, it turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, it did.
It really did.
D-ring brush guard. You did something custom here. You wanted two different style light bars in the front.
Yeah, because you were saying how the amber really helps to cut through fog.
It does, yes.
And sometimes in Texas, as you go through these low water crossings, they'll have a lot of fog down in there. Or even just leaving my house, going down this kind of a country road, you'll have some fog. And I was surprised after I did more research how that amber light really cuts through the fog.
Yeah.
But I still wanted a little extra light up here, going down roads, and we got deer that tend to jump out in front of you and want to commit suicide. So I figured, with that, with the headlights, with the JW speakers, those are dual burns. So when you hit high beam, it's got high beam and low beam both running, so it really lights it up. Then you got that beast up there. And I think you guys did a really great job.
That is a custom install.
That was a custom install.
Because you didn't want the
Big
light bar.
eyebrow. Yeah.
So we flush mounted the 50-inch light bar on top of the roof rack.
Yeah. And it was just, I thought the front end was so clean. And I mean, I know that big eyebrow light bar is awesome, but I was just looking at how it could occlude your vision just a little bit.
Yeah.
So then when we knew how the light bar would fit and the way that light to be able to mount up here, I mean, you got it just back a little bit from the windshield, and it's right, flush in there. I thought it just looked great. And that just keeps it nice and neat. It kind of flows with the body lines.
I like it because when you put our light bar on, it kind of obscures the view of the 3 clearance lights.
Right.
So now you clearly see.
Now you can see them, and you get to see all the stainless steel hardware, and it's real easy to get to that light up there if you ever had to service it. But I just thought, the way y'all's roof rack system worked, it just lent itself to it, especially since we had the ones on the side, and how those, you guys mount those nicely where they're tucked in. It's like, well, heck, let's do that. And I still have room underneath the light bar so I can wash it, clean it.
You upgraded your mirrors.
Yeah, those mirrors are fantastic.
Makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. You can see those other mirrors are horrible. It's an accident waiting to happen. These things are awesome.
Whenever someone asks, I get emails sometimes, hey, I just bought this Hummer, what's the first thing I should do to it? First thing I tell them is change your mirrors and change your headlights so you can see.
Yeah.
Because you can't see. The halogen headlights you can't see.
Horrible.
Upgrade them to LED and then you change the mirrors.
I could run down the road, high beams with those old halogens. Nobody would flash their lights at me because they were so dim. It makes a huge difference. And then, all side lights.
Oh yeah, the billet side markers.
Yeah.
With the dual function.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a nice upgrade.
Yeah.
You have lights on the roof rack, but that kind of gives you, the middle area.
Yeah.
This gives you more of the front, kind of out here.
And just gives you a little bit of throw if you're, loading, unloading stuff, and you don't want huge, obnoxious light up there because you're in your neighborhood.
Right.
So you don't want to, blind your neighbors.
And they look a lot nicer than the factory ones. It upgrades the whole look, makes it look, like a 2020 vehicle.
Yeah,
as opposed to, 96.
Yeah, and it goes well with everything else that you guys do, all the other billet stuff. Did you guys make your own strikers for the doors? Are those y'all's too?
No, those are powder coated.
Okay. That looked great. That looked really good. Nice detail.
A little attention to detail.
Yes, sir. All
that makes a difference.
Yeah. Oh, we got to show the billet gas doors.
Oh, yeah.
The other side, too.
Billet fuel doors. You wanted the used diesel fuel only.
I did. At first I wasn't sure, but then I was like, I think the factory had that on there.
It did.
So I was like, why not? And then I was asking you that stupid question. Okay, which one is the main tank and which one's the aux? And then it was like, okay, big door, big tank.
Big tank.
That's how I remembered it. Small door, small tank. But you think with 25 gallons on the main, 17 on the auxiliary, you got 42 gallons of fuel on board. Even if you get 16 miles to the gallon, you can get somewhere.
Oh yeah.
You got a range of 650 miles.
Yeah, that's
which I will need today.
That's a lot of money.
I'm going to need that. I think take a look at how you guys mounted the lights up there. That was pretty trick.
It is. We take pride in that. Sometimes we see trucks that come in and it's the wires just zip tied along the frame rails.
Yeah.
All the wires are ran inside and then ran down the back of the ladder system inside the ladder system. So everything's hidden. All you see is that's all the wire you will see.
Yeah. And then just the little caps over the bolts. It finishes it off because you don't see these big shiny threads sticking up at you. It covers it up. It just finishes it off really nicely.
The rocker panel protection, full protection. Great.
Yeah.
I think we already talked about this, but great side impact protection. Yes, they are heavy, but I think the pros outweigh the cons.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
And I remember when you guys said that one gentleman's family got in an accident where somebody T-boned him,
yes.
And he really felt that saved his family.
Yes, 100%.
And then after I looked at the construction of those versus the other ones are great, but good Lord,
Yeah.
it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's do it. And like I said, I think adding a little extra weight to these things just gets them to settle down on the highway,
It does.
on the roads, to where they're not as bouncy. It feels really clean.
It does.
It's surprising how well this thing rides now. It really rides well. Yeah, for sure.
We got the offset snorkel here. Nice look. It's all offset like that, so it doesn't obscure your view too much.
And riding in the passenger side of your other client's vehicle, looking at that, it makes a difference as a passenger. You can still see. And as a driver, it keeps the vision from being knocked out on this side so much. But as a passenger, it's not right there in your face.
Exactly.
So you can see what's going on going down the road. I think it turned out really nicely. I mean, it's cool. It's not over the top. You know, it's a really good quality build, but it's not flashy.
Yes.
It's my favorite color, blue. Love blue.
Here's that camera we were talking about earlier. That's where we mounted it. That is your rear view mirror now.
Yeah. And it's a perfect placement. I mean, it's awesome going down the road.
You have all this, and then you can move that thing, which is cool.
Yeah. And then, you know, when I engage it in reverse, you know, you can look through that, but then I can look through that one, you know, on the stereo system. So that, I mean, you got all that helping you back this thing up. All I need is a beeper. You know, beep, 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 beep. But it's awesome. And this thing works really well. And I know you showed that to me before, but, you know.
You also have a search and rescue fender well racks up there, give you a lot of storage space.
Yeah, in fact, I've already
looks
put
cool.
stuff up in there. I'll put some more stuff up in there.
You did the center divide and the search and rescue center console rack.
Yep.
In order to make that work, we turned this one back, but it worked out very
Yeah,
well.
it worked out great, and you still have really good through access because when I put those parts in it for my Range Rover, they're going to have to go that way. It's perfect. I mean, you can throw some stuff in there; it keeps it secure. You know, the carpeting, the seals, everything turned out great. It really does. It really does. So it just looks clean. I mean, it all kind of works, and nothing's kind of haphazard. You know, it's like, yeah, that works with this, and works with this, and that works. This all works. It just all flows.
It does.
It really, really does. It complements what the truck has to offer as far as its original layout. And that was just a dead space.
It was.
That was a horrible dead space. There's nothing you could do with that. And now you can use it. I would much rather have this than a Cybertruck.
Oh yeah.
I saw somebody going down the road in a Cybertruck and the groceries were in the back with that little hatch thing. It's like their eggs are going to blow out. It's crazy. It won't happen in this thing.
No, not at all.
We got to look at the logo.
Oh yeah.
We got to show the logo, man.
The logo is pretty cool.
Logo is sick. Look at that.
Predator Duramax H1.
That's right. Bam. Yeah, we were wrestling trying to figure out where to put it,
We were.
but that was the perfect spot for it. That way it's over there. It's not covered up by the tire carrier. And we got it on the front left of the vehicle. So that way, you know, give you guys some props.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Now, it turned out really, really, really well. And then that light placement right there, I mean, that fits perfect.
Yeah. That's really the biggest light you can put there, you know, with this style tire carrier.
Yeah, and keeping it tucked under and not, you know, pooching up above, for sure.
Yeah, you can't really fit anything else.
No,
Yeah, that's the perfect one. Plus, you don't really need any more light back here.
Yeah, no, you really don't.
You got the light in the bumpers. So
Yeah, and when you back it up, it's really nice.
it's really bright.
It's perfect, and it doesn't blind the camera. So when I was backing up to that deli, I could see perfectly before I smashed into any of their plants. So that was awesome.
Good.
It worked really, really, really well.
Good.
And just like we were talking yesterday, the design of these things, you're not really sacrificing any loss in approach angle.
No.
You know, front or rear. So it kind of keeps that off-road DNA alive and intact if you're going to go off-roading. You're not giving up anything.
No, in fact, you're actually increasing it. Because most of your
The other
departure
ones.
angles
Uh-huh.
are off of rocks and boulders here.
Yeah.
You kind of position yourself. It's not like a perfect angle here across the entire back.
Right.
What I found in is it's usually like a big rock or boulder that I'm crawling over
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
So now your bumper, instead of being down here,
Yeah.
is now
Yeah.
up here.
And as I come off of it, I know I'm going to go crunch with the factory bumper. This, you got better clearance. You really, really do.
Let's talk about this. The little
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Trap
we
door.
did.
It's so
the little,
rad.
the little magnetic trap door. Yeah, that's,
love it.
That's Batman stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it turned out really, really good.
Yeah.
The shackles, everything. I mean, it has a great look to it. Yeah. Like I said, can't wait to get it home, get it all settled in, change the oil again, and then spend half the day just washing it and detailing it, just get it super slick. It'll be a good trip.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
Good.
thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. You're
Well,
welcome.
thanks for your trust too. I mean,
Thank you.
especially like
Thank you.
being in the industry and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
good
you,
to have
man.
that trust.
Yeah. No, this turned out well. Thank you. Yes, sir.
We got Cheeto behind the camera today. Spin around, look at your beautiful face, Cheeto. Yeah, this guy right here did a ton of work on this truck.
I know he did. I know. And Flo and Randy,
Caleb over a year now.
a year and 8 months, year and 10 months.
I mean,
we got it here.
Yeah.
And then we started figuring things out.
Yeah.
And putting a plane together.
And then different directions, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let's go this way.
Yeah.
Little stuff, little detail stuff like this.
Yeah.
I mean, that took so much time in engineering that little
And that
part.
popped up, you know,
But it's
at
cool.
the bottom of the night.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
when I was like, hey man, there's a big hole there.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you don't have a winch. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, I don't. We got to fix that.
Yeah.
And Caleb came up with the magnets.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
was just stupid smart. Like,
Yeah, it's cool. It's great.
That's
It's
Batman
great.
stuff. That was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you know the tow hitch and just all the little things.
Yeah,
You know?
really sets them up.
And the red arc for towing.
Red arc, yeah, the towing thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. You don't have a big old brake controller near
Yeah.
your knee.
Yeah. And then that slick for the tune,
Mhm.
where we place those
Yeah,
buttons.
five position.
5-position tune. Yes, sir.
The
Which
S
is-
pod.
The S pod.
There's a lot that's got in this.
With the 2 brains. Not
Two
1
brains,
brain,
yeah.
2
You
brains.
got so many
Stuff.
accessories.
That right there, that was like friggin' 2 weeks of like getting them to communicate. They weren't communicating
Right.
for some reason.
Right,
It's
right,
like,
right.
What's going on? And finally, they're like, oh, you got to change these parameters in the back end of the programming.
Oh,
and then we
really?
can do it.
For it to work with 2 brains.
Yeah.
Really?
That was a nightmare.
Was it really? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. Now I feel bad.
No, it's all good. All right, buddy. Well, have a safe trip home.
I will. Thank you. Thank you. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I'll let you know the gas mileage on the whole entire trip.
Cool. Yeah, send some photos.
I'll send some
I
photos.
bet you'll be at like 16 and a half because you're kind of lead-footed.
I am kind of lead-footed. Well, it was 16.6 when I
Okay.
checked it, so maybe I can get 17. Maybe I can just throttle back a little bit,
if
listen
you
to some
can. I
Joe
know you
Rogan,
can.
you know, on podcasts, listen to Zuckerberg talk with Rogan. We'll see. We'll see. I-10's a long. That's 7 hours, I think, on I-10
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Well, when there's
So,
nothing around you, it's like, just kick it up.
I know, but I'll try to keep it under triple digits.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, dude. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate
of
it.
course, of course.
Yeah, John.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Great working with you.
Yeah,
And for you guys, thanks for watching. See you guys soon. John's sneaking away from me. There he goes. Later, buddy. Have a safe drive, bro.
I will. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah,
All right.
appreciate it, Ryan.
Enjoy her, dude.
Yes,
See ya.
sir. Take care.
You too.